So I thought I might start doing the odd kind of reality video of what can happen during like a journey, a health journey. Um, so yeah, at present I am. It's I think it's past 10:30 at the moment, and I am trying to get up out of bed. Um, I had a flare up, I suppose you could call it, yesterday. So I done an acupressure massage, and I guess it does require you to kind of lunge and push into someone's body. Um, so I done that, and then I stayed for a cup of tea. I realised that when you live alone, sometimes you think that you're doing better, and when people ask you how you feeling, you could be like, I think I'm doing better, but also they maybe make the assumption that that means you're better, therefore you can go out and socialise and do stuff. And quite often you're only feeling better because you're doing very, very little and you're at home. When you go out and about, you have to like use your senses much more. Your balance, your coordination, all your sensory skills, especially for driving, things like that. And even just things like being around people and having to think and articulate and socialise, and multitask. So I felt a wee bit of sensory, well, felt quite a lot of sensory overload trying to deal with that yesterday. And you just feel like you're coming across as really thick, scatty. And by the time I got home, I had sort of developed all that I can describe as is like a weakness, like shaky, almost like you get before you're going to get a flu or something. And when you feel that way, often it feels similar to like a hunger weakness. So I ate a full bag of nuts. Um, and obviously, it wasn't anything to do with hunger, but um, after a 3-4 hours that passed, and then I started feeling tenderness. So the tenderness was underneath the ribs, which is quite a common area for endometriosis, and all randomly around the abdominal area. So the pain I try to ease with heat. I usually try and use red tiger balm as well. I found that helpful, but I was just too tired to get up out of bed and try and find it. So I just laid there with a hot water bottle until about 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was researching medications that have been suggested to me that don't sound tempting. The list of side effects, the fact that they kind of trigger perimenopausal like state. Um, so yeah, and then the pains kind of, to distract from that, I get in a habit of biting my lip, which yeah, not looking ideal. So yeah, earplugs, because every single little thing seems to grate you when you're not feeling great. And my neighbour's been obviously going through some sort of gastro thing, and you're hearing farting every minute to minute and a half. But yeah, having dogs and you know that you need to get up early and take them out, and you just feel so guilty. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that people assume because they see videos or things online, or they've seen you out and about and you've met them for a coffee and you were completely fine that week, or not completely fine, but they seem to think that you look healthy and able, that they just assume that's you all the time. They don't understand that you're lying there with 2 dogs that haven't even been out yet or fed. But now I've done this, I'm feeling I need to push through and get up. But there we go. That is a bit of a chunk of reality when it comes to what you kind of have to encounter, and how on the outside people can often think that, you know, there's not a lot really going on and things are good, especially if you're the type that likes to have different hobbies and interests, and then it appears like you've got the energy to put into other things, so you can't be that bad. And obviously you will probably have seen that I'm a wee bit puffy this morning as well. It's all inflammation. I will advise that I'm not looking for any unsolicited advice, please, in the comments. Please be assured that I'm on my journey, and there's a reason for everything. And I've got a year's wait for surgery, and I am trying to undo all of the things of the previous generations that basically trickle down the generational lines. We're trying to undo what our ancestors had started to manifest. So it's about an hour later. I've been out with the dogs. I took my green tea and jasmine with me, and I can't deny that a bit of movement and hydration started to lift some of it. Not to the point. I mean, put it this way, I feel drunk on inflammation at the moment. The tenderness is still there. I'm still like, I think probably you would describe it, if you're a healthy person, is just really drained. But when you tolerate something chronic, it's really drained, but to a level that you can actually function and tolerate it a bit easier, if that makes sense. It's like on a scale of toleration, it's become a little more tolerable, to the point where that you'll be able to maybe be at home and not be suffering as bad, but out and about it's difficult because you can find that your balance and coordination and just being out and about can be difficult, like I say, to articulate and hold conversation with people, and take everything in that's going on around about you and try and function as relatively normal as possible. I'm badly needing a haircut, so apologies, I'm not looking my best. I've also got really puffy eyes. But yeah, I wanted to talk about how those wee opportunities, those wee windows of opportunity can give you the chance to at least counteract what's been happening. So although it's really, really tempting to stay in that zone forever, albeit sometimes you can't get out of that zone, your body's forcing you to be at rest and be horizontal. It's difficult when you live on your own, so I thought I would just give a few examples of things that you can do to make it easier when you are on your own. So you don't have the people that you can lean on and bring you teas and bring you drinks and bring you meals in your bedroom, or walk the dogs, or albeit you can get a dog walker, but that can be a wee bit of a financial burden to some. And because it's so sporadic, it's like some mornings you might be able to not ideally push through it and get through that morning, but then others are like today, where it's like you don't want to be a bad dog mum, but you have to weigh it up and you really cannot push yourself up. It doesn't help that hydration can be affected as well with inflammation, so you need even more water in your system. Medications that you might take might be adding to that drying out effect. I find it particularly challenging because I have an esophageal motility issue where the nerves and is neuromuscular, so it means that drinking can be more of a chore than what it should be. So being able to gain as much fluids throughout the day is difficult, and I always find that from morning when you wake up is the worst, because you've obviously had that period overnight of not been drinking. It would be great to be able to easily obtain drips, like an overnight drip where you can hydrate yourself, just to kind of give you that boost and hopefully then maintain it afterwards. But yeah, hydration's a huge thing. So if you can ensure that there's always something by your bedside. So I've got like my crystal infused water bottle, it's always full, so that I can tap into that even if I'm too poorly to leave bed. Neva. But also on the days where you're actually doing relatively okay, or you're feeling great, or feeling well, that's the days where you want to prep for the times when they're not so good. So I'm feeling really blessed that I decided to batch cook some chili con carne a couple of days ago, and I have some left so that it's easy for me. It's tempting, and why not? If you've got a better day, you want to make use of it, and you don't really want to be cooped up in the kitchen trying to cook. But from experience, I feel like those are the things that you have to kind of weigh up and sacrifice. Do those before anything else. I've also decided that although I've got muscle weakness and I just cannot be arsed like chopping and cooking, just to go the extra mile and try and use up the stuff that I know I have. Avocado, I'm going to have chopped avocado and plum tomatoes with lemon juice, a bit of chili flakes, a little bit of hummus lining on the toast, and yeah, more green tea, because it's all going to aid in some way. It's better than having something that's going to add to the inflammation. So avocados is a good source of healthy fats as well. So it's like just trying to push yourself to make better decisions, even though you're hearing all these contradictory messages all the time that you shouldn't be pushing yourself. There's some things that, you know, if you do make an extra effort to ensure you do, it means that you have less of those times that are hard, that are a real downfall, because you've got things to cushion you, you've got things to make it a bit easier. So yeah, batch cooking when you can, when you're healthy, and even if you feel pretty bad, try not to be tempted and have those foods that are going to add to things like inflammation, burnouts, that are going to stimulate the adrenal gland, that are going to make you feel more in fight or flight mode, things like caffeines, sugars, energy drinks. And you don't want to really burden your liver too much. So bearing in mind that although you're going to try and supplement in some way, sometimes you can overload by having too many at the same time. So keep that in mind. If your liver's already dealing with quite a lot, the best thing is just to try and stimulate like the waste removal and the filtration system. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're not overloading it. Look at your products, look at the things you put on your skin, that you absorb through your scalp, that you wear on your face, that you use on your armpits, deodorants. Everything is absorbed into our body, and there'll be a lot coming from that. So changing to more natural based products is really something to consider if you have anything underlying, anything chronic, anything that you're on a journey with. That can be really beneficial to make some progress. It's not saying that it's going to cure, but all of these little changes, they all add up to help you find improvement, or never write off the possibility that you can reset your endocrine system, you can reset your gut, you can reset all of the things that come together to influence your mind, to influence your inflammation levels, to influence your fatigue, to influence your fight or flight, your anxiety. So yeah, if you can look at all of that and remember that making that time to be prepared in the kitchen for meal times, or selecting the better option even though you don't quite fancy the taste of it, it's a small sacrifice to make. Try and think nutrition rather than taste, because we've become a culture of really eating to taste rather than eating to nourish. So keeping that thought in the back of your mind, those little choices, they can all add up. It's giving your body the building blocks. If you think how every cell is created in your body, when we're, how even your skin, if it's someone that is looking to just better their skin, your skin is renewed, and the building blocks that are used are based on the things that you're taking into your body. So just based on that alone, do you want your cells to be made up of what you're eating if it's not too great, if it's not too beneficial? On days like these, where the struggle is an extra struggle, go back to the basics. Basics being your hydration levels, your food intake, your balance of exercise but not over the point
of beneficial exercise. It's just getting enough movement to get all the waste systems going, and get some fresh air, whether it's just sat on your doorstep or a gentle walk around your block, a gentle walk in nature if you can. Back to the basics of putting everything on hold. So the things that aren't really priority, the things that can wait, and be conscious of the need to scroll, because when you're in a state of being a bit dazed and blurry and brain foggy, it's really easy just to go on and do that, and it's just prompting triggers, mood changes, making you feel you're not enough, making you feel guilty for not doing much with your day when you see people doing productive stuff or seemingly successful. And our emotions are also more sensitive when we're feeling drained. So keep that in mind, actually shielding yourself from things, so things that could influence your emotions when you are a bit more sensitive. And it's best, I'm not saying to be a hermit, I do that, I've got to say, but that actually I've found throughout the years that is probably what I need. It's almost like I need to distance myself from other energies going on in order to recuperate and in order to rebalance. But I think most people will find that beneficial, putting distance between yourself and other people's energies, and that includes the energies coming at you from social media, through text messages even. It's okay to be unobtainable for a while, and I think it's great to put your phone on airplane mode in those times, even if it's just for an hour or two, to get you focused on the basics. You can also use things as incentives. So if you want to have more encouragement to drink, I, for instance, use the crystal infused water bottle that I have. It's pretty. If you are into crystals and energy and frequency, and you believe that water does absorb energy as well, then it gives you more of an incentive to drink up what you have in the bottle. Ease of access to hydration as well, as I said, if it's on your bedside table. And if you feel that you do better with hot drinks, I know that I do, it's better on the nerves in the esophagus to have warm drinks. To have a flask and fill it up with boiling water, put your tea bag in there, something that's really good for detox. And obviously green tea, you can get blends with turmeric and ginger and things that are anti-inflammatory as well. But also I found that cacao is a great addition as well. It's got brilliant benefits, and it energizes in a natural way, so I found that really beneficial. But keep it in a flask, and obviously throughout hours it will still retain some of its heat. Incentives as well, in the way of once you finally do that walk that you are absolutely dreading the thought of, and you're using your mindset to look at the imprints and ask yourself, why am I telling myself that this is a bad idea? Have I got an inner voice that's putting myself down, that's saying that you can't, you can't, you can't? Sometimes you need to pause, ask yourself what your inner voice is, and just flip it around and use an encouraging voice, because once you get through that, you can come home, you might feel better, like I have, better enough then to make better choices, feel more positive, and know that the day doesn't have to be ruined, even if it hasn't gone to a great start, or even if half the day has been hellish. You've still got some of that day where you can turn it around. You can change your day at any given point. You can reset it, even if it requires acceptance of things that are difficult. That can be a positive thing as well, accepting that the day is supposed to go this way, and that rest is actually productive. The collective, at least the Western collective, are going to really have big wake up calls when it comes to realization that we're looking for cures and everything, but the answers are there. We know how to prevent things, but it's just too inconvenient to change everything. And it's been normalised, so when things are everyday and normalised and they're on the shelf, you trust them. And it's in movies that we watch, it's in propaganda, it's in everything around us, we don't really seem to think it's really having that much of an effect. But yeah, it all adds up, and I think we're going to realise that the key is undoing it all rather than continuing in the same cycles and looking for quick fixes. And there we go, a little bit of TLC. And what you'll find is you'll get more confident because you'll realise that even when you make those choices for a different kind of food source, you will realise that maybe it did make a difference to your well-being, and then from there you gain a little bit of confidence as well, because you realise on some occasions it's actually worked to help your well-being, and therefore you will try and strive to make better choices for yourself every day and cause a ripple effect. Tell yourself that you deserve to be well kept, and these kind of voices are actually more productive. And looking at the seeds that you're wanting to plant for your future, are you wanting to plant seeds that are going to grow into poisonous plants, or are you want to plant seeds for your well-being to be optimum level and plant seeds for your future generations, which it will all trickle down to?